Hi, everybody. Welcome to Conscious Conversations. I'm your host, Katie Augustyn. So I'm the founder of the Transformation Center, which is based in Westport, Connecticut. And at the center, in addition to the individual coaching and energy healing sessions that I do with people, we also host classes, workshops. Sometimes I bring in other practitioners. We have sound baths in the backyard, which is always fun when it's, good weather outside. Lots of different offerings. And all the information is on the website, which is transformationcenterct for Connecticut.com. So you can check that out. And, everything that we do is really focused on helping you gain greater self-awareness. So then you can tune in to who you really are underneath everything and connect with that core self. And from that place, you can let go of your limiting beliefs, you can transform them, you can, be who you really are, and then start to really consciously create the life that you want. So that's really what it's all about. And, to that end, I love connecting with other people who are in that same field, and connecting with their energy, finding out what they do. And that's why I started this Conscious Conversations, to talk to people about what they're up to, what they have to offer you. So I'm really happy tonight that my guest is Josh Liebling. Welcome to the show, Josh.
Thank you for having me, Katie.
Yeah, I'm glad you were able to make it.
Me too.
We met not that long ago. And really, kind of hit it off, and I love what you do, so I thought, come on and talk to everybody about it,
Thank you so much.
Very, very casual conversation we're going to have today. So I'm going to read a little bit about you before we get started.
Sure.
So people can just learn a little bit. So Josh is a Qigong instructor. He is trained and certified by Masters Lee Holden and Robert Peng. And we're also going to put up your contact info so people can, reach out to you if they choose to. And Josh loves sharing the practice of Qigong because it's simple yet effective at reducing stress and increasing energy. What a great combo. And he says that students cultivate their Qi, which is also our life force energy, through a collection of playful movements that mirror nature. And this leaves them feeling relaxed and peaceful, but also energized and ready to enjoy the day. That's just like the perfect mix of how to do it. And I have tried Qigong before, but not in a while. So I'm curious to see what you have to say about it. Yeah, and so also, in addition to Josh's classes and the group work that he does, he also works individually with people. And he teaches the Taoist principles that help clear up misunderstandings of the human experience. Yes. Allowing people to flourish on their life's journey. Yeah, so we have that in common, That's really our goal, isn't it?
Yeah. I love what you read also. Sometimes I have to remind myself that one of the most amazing things about Qigong that I love is that it brings this calm inner peace, but also feeling energized. Not like a coffee buzz energized feeling, but more just like this clarity of mind, feeling that you feel this kind of energy to go about your day that's smooth, but also pleasant. And also we release stress. We release the stressful energy that we might pick up from the day through different movements as well. So it's this great release, but also tonification and strengthening. And I feel like that's what Qigong is all about.
Wow, that's beautiful. I love that, like the clarity of mind. What a concept in our day and age, It's like when we have that, it's like from that place is where the creativity comes, what else?
Yeah, I kind of feel like clarity of mind is also when things get quiet. When things get quiet, we're not in our analytical mind as much. Then the flow or the steady stream of life is able to flow through and stream through our consciousness. And then things become simpler, when we have a busy mind, when things are going constantly in the mind, the monkey mind, some people call it, then it kind of makes it more difficult to just get in touch with that gentle flow, that stream that is just effortless.
Yeah, which, you know, as I was saying, like, it's who we really are.
Yeah.
You know, to get in touch with that aspect of the human experience that I think we kind of knew that coming in. You know, when we were born,
Yeah.
we had that, but then something, you know, well, something, it's life,
Yeah.
happens. And this is a really good tool, it sounds like, to get us back to that place.
Yeah, yeah. The kind of the misunderstandings of life is that we need to use our analytical brain in order to figure things out, in order to push through, in order to get through life. And many Taoist practices and principles is about returning to the way. The Tao means the way. And it's just the natural unfolding of life. And to do that, there's these practices, Qigong practices, that I just fell in love with that really help facilitate that. Although it's kind of beyond that, because it's like once you kind of have a recipe, that kind of defeats the purpose of what the Taoists talk about in the way. The way can't really be told. In the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu talks about that the Tao that can't be told isn't the real Tao. It's beyond the words. So even though the practice of Qigong is kind of like a map, the territory is really feeling it for yourself, experiencing it, having that visceral experience that really can't really be expressed. It can be experienced. And so in Qigong, we release stress by different movements, by warm-ups, by clearing, by cleansing. And then we go into moving meditations or flows. And that's a fortification, a tonification of the life force energy that you described. Qi is our life force. It's our aliveness. It's this animating bioelectricity that flows in us and all around us. It beats our hearts. It digests our food. It connects us to nature. In nature, it's the changing of the seasons that happens effortlessly. You know, in nature, nothing is hurried, yet everything is accomplished. I think that's a Lao Tzu quote as well.
Yeah, that does sound familiar. I love it.
And so the changing of the seasons just happens naturally. And, you know, today I actually went for a walk, and I was looking, it's winter now in Connecticut, and I was looking at a maple tree, and there was just a few leaves there, old leaves, but usually it was pretty much bare. And it's pretty amazing that there's nothing there. It's just these branches, and yet when the spring comes, all of a sudden these beautiful leaves sprout, new life takes shape. And it's like, how did that even happen? Let alone the mysteries of the human body. So yeah, it's pretty amazing.
It's all a miracle.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the literal definition of miracle.
Is it really?
I don't know. I just made that up.
Let's make it up now.
But it feels like it.
Yeah.
You know, like something so complex yet simple, so remarkable, so like perfect in its way, you know?
The miracle of life. Yeah. It's also, part of nature is the stars, the sun. You know, we forget that we're on this blue marble kind of circling the sun. And when you connect with those other forces outside of ourselves, it also brings perspective into the connection that we share with everything that's in existence. It's kind of mind-blowing, but it's also calming. You know, when you have that perspective, that distance, that spaciousness, this depth of life, when you tune into it. And that's what I feel like happens when we go into our Qigong practice. When we tune into something bigger than ourselves, the oneness, everything else just calms down, everything else just falls away.
Yeah, no, that's a really good way of describing it. I mean, to me, there's nothing quite like that feeling of when you're connected to all that is.
Yeah.
And, you know, my personal belief is that we're all not only connected, but we're all one. You know, it's all, we're all one.
Yeah.
Including the elements, nature, you know, creator being. I think we have that inside of us.
Yeah.
That spark of the divine.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
when you tune into that, it really does just change the way you look at things.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, that's great. It's beautiful, and it's just such a you know, like this is available to all of us, to any of us. You know, this, it's like accessible. We can do that. You know, we have this, it's like a gift, really, to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And so we just have to remember, you know, not get caught up in our busy lives and too much.
Yeah, well, there's different practices that we all enjoy, you know, like for me it's Qigong, but for someone else it could be cooking or baking, it could be exercise. Like we all find our own ways of just slowing things down, getting into that flow state. It's not just one thing. Kind of that's what I also have discovered for myself, kind of what I spoke about in the beginning, like it's not so much a recipe. Inner wisdom comes to us just in the moment. It's responsive in the moment, and that's kind of what I love about what I've discovered, is that it's ever changing. It's life is always changing. It's always transforming, and when we open up to that, then you discover more.
Yeah, that's true. And also, though, being present.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think in order to experience that we do need to be present.
Yeah.
Because if we're thinking about the past or the future, it's really challenging to be in the moment and to appreciate what you have in the moment.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Just by definition, right? It's like dough. But yeah, it's available though. That's what I really like about it, is that this is not mysterious. You know, like you said, you can do it pretty much in any part of your life. As long as you're not in that monkey mind, it's really the key thing, right?
The cool part is it's also is mysterious, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of like the Qi. The Qi, you can explain it to some degree. It's this aliveness, it's this formlessness, but it doesn't take shape, it can take shape, but in this state of formlessness, it has no shape. So how do you describe it? It can be experienced. I mean, we could do a quick exercise right now if you're up for it, to feeling it.
Sure.
That I like to do. It's where you rub your fingernails together like this, and you just breathe long, slow, and deep. We're stimulating the energetic pathways at the ends of the fingertips. And just breathe. Rubbing back and forth. Whoever's watching this can do it too.
Yeah, I can do this at home.
And then just slow it down and open up the palms in front of your hands. And just sense and feel the buzzing or tingling or warmth. Or it could be different for anyone and everyone. And that's a sample of your Qi.
Yeah, it's palpable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is Gong in Qigong. Gong means skill, or to work with, or to cultivate. So in Qigong, we skillfully work with this energy in order to let it continually move through us, you know. Energy, when you get down to it, it could be positive or negative, or it can have no polarity. It's just what is. And so part of Qigong is transforming the negative that we might take on, like stressful energy, agitation, and with our Gong, we skillfully transform it into the positive, almost like we're a gardener working with our inner garden. And what we do in our Qigong practice is we let go of the old, we send it to the earth often, and earth has this transformative power. And then we cultivate our inner garden to see what kind of fruit and vegetables are going to come from this beautiful transformative process. But yes, this is just that feeling of Qi in our palms that shows us what's possible when we open up to other dimensions of working with energy.
Yeah. And in this, you know, because I work with energy when I do energy healings, and to me it feels like I'm the conduit more for it. So it's like a spiritual, it might be a little different than what we're talking about here, because I don't think of it as a life force so much as a spiritual, like it's coming, from spirit, and it's coming through me, and then it's activating your inner healing and your inner guidance, because I think we have everything we need inside of us as humans. We just don't know that. We don't necessarily have access to it all the time. So I don't know, do you see the distinction there, or is there no distinction? I'm just...
Yeah, I think different cultures have their own ways of describing this energy. I'm just using your words, you're using your words. I just, me personally, I believe it is all the same. It's just a different expression. Like in Reiki, there's Qi, which means energy, and in Ayurvedic, Indian traditions, it could be prana, and there's different practices, different variations of all of these forms. And I think you do shamanistic work, right?
Yeah, so I work with my, that energy, master healer, master teacher. They're all beings that have our best interest at heart. That's really, so it's just, it's kind of like channeling in a way. Working with them, and I'm just the conduit, but it's, I guess it is the same. It's just different, maybe a different like use of it, different process maybe, but it's probably the same.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, so I'm curious, Josh, how did you get into all of this to begin with? What was your your background?
Yeah, good question. Maybe when I was a teenager, my parents my dad particularly was interested in energy work and meditation. He went to a chiropractor from NSA, Network Spinal Analysis. And that's a practice where it's not cracking of the spine, it's more through gentle touch and teaching the spine to move in different ways to open up energy. And so I went along with that. I wasn't overly enthused to begin with, and then I gave it a try and I loved it. It helped me feel good, it helped me feel better, it helped me release stress. And then I did it on and off in my early teens, and then going to college, when I would come back from college, I would do it. And then one of my first jobs was in the city working in video editing, and it was kind of stressful at times. So I went back to a chiropractor near where I lived, and I fell in love with it again. I really felt the power of it. It helped me just feel better, release stress. I would feel tingling and buzzing in my hands, and I didn't really know what that was, but it felt good. And then I went on different retreats associated with it where it felt really amazing, and I felt a opening up or a blooming, like a flower of my energy, and my just openness to investigate things beyond the conventional. And so I took different classes. I took classes in meditation, and like EFT, for like tapping on the meridians and the acupuncture points. I did different sacred dance movements. I did classes in shamanism, actually, which were really fun, where I don't know if the shaman I saw, he used a drum to take us to the upper world, the lower world, finding our guides. And that was really fun. I feel like I've done just so much.
That's awesome.
And then I found Qigong, and it was kind of like, oh, this is like something that really speaks to me. I don't know what it was in particular, but I took classes in Chinatown while I was living in New York that felt really great. I took a class in Omega Institute with Robert Peng, and that's really when I started going down this path more. And I took his classes and certification, and it just opened up a whole new world. And then I just felt like I wanted to share it with others. And that led me to Holden and just learning more. And what I love about teaching is that, you know, kind of what you were speaking about, that people don't know that it's within them. I feel like a part of them does, and a part of us knows that there's something more, and it just kind of like the fog kind of just needs to be lifted a little bit, whether that comes from a Qigong class, whether that comes from a meditation, like I said, whether it comes from something else like a cooking class or a conversation with a friend. You never know how it will open up to new beginnings, and that's kind of what I love about this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's beautifully put, because there's so many different things, so many modalities that can get us to the same place.
Yeah, what's been really helpful for me also, kind of, sometimes I've gone to trying all these things out of wanting to be okay, you know, because I feel like this has helped me, so kind of like my analytical mind hijacks it. It's like, okay, what else do I have to do to be okay? What are all the practices? What are all the things people are telling me I have to do? And what I discovered in trying all these things is that I don't have to rush or frantically try and find. That's kind of takes me back into a stressful place, and then I'm doing practices from a stressful mindset. What I discovered is I don't have to hold these things so tightly. I don't have to hold the energy of wanting to be okay so tightly, because I know deep down I am okay. And that took me a while to discover for myself. But when I don't hold so tightly on these practices and just kind of go with, okay, what do I feel like doing today? Is it an energetic Qigong practice? Is it more of a meditation Qigong practice? Is it not even doing Qigong so long? Is it trying a new class? You know, it's kind of just going by the inner wisdom and going along for the ride and being open to be on that journey day to day, which is kind of interesting to me because it's counter to something that my mind keeps saying, you know, what do I have to do?
I know.
And so that's been an interesting journey.
I love the way you describe that. Yeah, no, our minds are taskmasters for sure. Most of us have that.
Yeah.
And we're kind of used to it. You know, it's like habits, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, if we change our habits of mind or what you're doing, it's like perfect. I love that. One thing that I talk to people about is the energy of allowing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just that feeling of, you know, I think we live in a loving universe, and if we can allow it rather than like forcing it or controlling it, which we can't anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that's a good lesson, right? Right. In and of itself, that's a huge life lesson. You know, the only thing we control is our reaction to something, not the something.
Yeah, yeah. That's very interesting. Yeah. What can we control? Very little. I mean, even sometimes our reactions, I feel like I can't control. Even if there's a conditioned response, I've kind of discovered that it's okay. It's okay. Whatever comes through is okay. And the less I try controlling, the more I just let whatever energy wants to flow through me, whether that's something going on physically, whether that's something going on emotionally or mentally. With the mind, it's like allowing it to flow through is okay because it will change. That's kind of like a constant of the universe, is that there's always things transforming, and the less I resist it, the more it just naturally moves through.
Well, no, that's a very good point, because, you know, what we resist persists.
Yeah.
You know, when we're going up against something.
Yeah.
But also the fact that I think that's a really key piece of wisdom that we do develop as we do these practices and get older, is that things do change, you know, like if I'm feeling this way right now, you know, it's going to shift.
Yeah.
Just if I don't really do too much.
Yeah.
Don't fight it.
Exactly.
Or don't make it wrong.
Which is so subtle, because you could say to yourself, okay, let me not make this wrong so that it's okay. And even trying to do that is like
It's
trying to do something. So it's like
right. It's tricky. It's tricky.
It can be tricky. But that's
Definitely.
why it's kind of less of like a doing and consciously it's kind of like an undoing. It's kind of like being with the feeling of the feeling in between the knowing. Like it doesn't kind of make sense in a way, but you kind of feel it, you kind of know it based on practice or based on being open to it, maybe more.
Yeah, I think being open is you know, we have to start there for sure.
Yeah.
So I hope that everybody that's listening today is open to all of this that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And we'll wrap up in a couple of minutes. So is there anything else that you want to share that we haven't talked about yet? Anything that you're up to, or anything like you would recommend to people that they like how do they start with any of this, or you know?
Gosh, I guess one thing I would just say is if this sounds interesting to someone, that they can try a Qigong class and see if it resonates with them, and if not, then they try another thing that speaks to you.
Okay.
I guess it would be just to try and be open to trying new things, even if it's something you maybe thought you would never be interested in.
Right. You know, and I just thought of something too that I sometimes forget to mention to people is that, well, it kind of goes along the lines of there's nothing wrong here. Like, we're not trying to fix anybody or ourselves, you know. It's more just like a growth opportunity, and like you said, check it out. And there's nothing like you're not supposed to know this already. You know, I think I get the feeling that some people who are beginning, you know, on this path, they feel like they should be further along or they should know more. It's not about knowing.
It's definitely not about knowing. I feel like I don't know anything.
Right.
I mean, it's beginner's mind is often the best, because I feel like if I do a practice, whether it's Qigong or something else, or if I'm learning from someone else, from another teacher, I guess that would also be an advice, is go with your own inner knowing. You can learn a lot of things from different teachers, but their wisdom isn't yours. And it might spark something in you that is, or it will spark something in you that's greater than you could have even imagined that someone else, a teacher, a master, whoever they may be, would have come up with. So I would say listen to your own wisdom when you're learning new things. And I was going to say something else, I forgot, but maybe, I don't remember. But hopefully that was good.
No, I think that's wonderful, because yes, I totally resonate with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the not knowing that. Also, to continually acknowledge that you know and you don't know. There are truths that you know about yourself, about the way things work, about what works for you. But the more you kind of let yourself be open to the idea that you don't know, it invites new things, and you never know what might come. Just to keep saying the word no over and over again.
Well, you know, and I love the saying, you know, that we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not about, you know, knowing. I mean, to me, there's two different kinds. There's the inner knowing that comes with, well, we're all born with it, but then you get more access to it as you get more into what we're talking about. But the other kind of knowing is just like this intellectual knowledge of like what we call book knowledge or something, which is totally different to me.
Yeah, there's wisdom, there's intuition, and there's insight, and they come from another place.
Yeah.
And the place they come from is kind of like, for me, it's like a feeling, you know, like, oh, there it is. You know, it's just
like coming home.
It's a coming home. That's a great way to describe it. It's a coming home. It's a sweetness. It's kind of like when you're kind of relaxing outside on a summer day and a soft breeze kind of comes along. It's kind of like that.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we end there?
Yeah, sure.
I love that. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you,
Josh.
Katie, for having me.
love the conversation, and thank you to our viewers tonight, and
thank
you
you.
know, for being here. And maybe we'll put up Josh's contact info one more time. So if you'd like to reach out, you know. see
Yeah.
what's
If
there.
anyone has any questions, comments, or wants to share their experience with me,
Yeah, that would be great.
that would be awesome.
Yeah, and thank you to the Westport Library for hosting us today, to Verso Studios. Really appreciate it. All right, take care, everybody.
Thank
Namaste.
you. Thank you, Katie.